Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fruitful Trees. And here I am across the street from my house at my neighbor's house. And my neighbor and I planted our trees at the same time. But he was smart about it. He didn't take his trees out of the ground a whole bunch of times like I did. I have a problem. I play musical trees around my yard. And I take my trees out quite often and move them around and so on. But he put his in the ground and he kept them in the ground. So now he's getting fruit before I got fruit. I'm not too concerned because I know the spots I'm happy with, and eventually I will have fruit on the trees. But he's certainly got a head start since he left the trees in the ground. Today I want to talk about this fruit, this amazing fruit. This is Jabba the Kaba. He planted 2 trees 7 years ago from a 3-gallon tree, and it is loaded right now with fruit. So he's been getting fruit off this tree for the last 2 or 3 years. So from a 3-gallon, it only took about 4 years, maybe 5 years to get fruit from these trees. And that's pretty good for these fruits because sometimes they take 8 or 9 years to fruit. But not only does he have this tree, he has this tree here, which is the same tree or the same fruit, but 2 trees he has. That tree's a little bigger, and that tree's fruiting as well. And these fruit twice a year at least. So this tree is fruiting as well, just not as much as this smaller tree. There are many experiments that I've done as I go and travel around of people that have the same tree planted right next to each other, and one fruit's better than the other. Sometimes they know the reason why, and sometimes they don't. Now these trees will grow to be some of the biggest trees in his yard if he just leaves them alone, but it'll take a very, very long time to grow. But for now, they're like big bushes in front of his house. And all the fruit grows right on the bark. So it's quite unique as compared to other trees where the fruit hangs off the end of it. If you're new to planting fruit trees and you're looking for a tree for the front of your house and you live in a city or an area where a lot of people walk by, these are some great trees to plant because they just look like a bush. They don't look like a fruit tree. If his mango tree was here hanging over, it'd be much more appealing to people. He does have a mango tree in between here that somebody could just reach here and take. Now, he's very generous and he does share. He has coconut trees right here. He shares those. He just likes people to be respectful and ask first. But point being is there are some trees you don't want to attract people that are going to be rude and just take without asking. And these are some good trees to plant up front. Over in my house across the street, I have some trees planted across the front. I'm going to go take a look over there. So I want to tell you about these. First of all, the tree is absolutely a beautiful tree, or a big bush, or whatever you want to say. But they do require a lot of water. They could do good in partial shade, but they do require a lot of water. So that's one thing. And another thing is, when I first started planting trees, I didn't want one of these. I didn't want one of these trees because, I mean, a mango or a mamey will fill me up. One of these won't fill me up. A bunch of them will fill me up. I just didn't understand the value and how great they were until years later. And that's when I started to get more of these trees. And now it's like I love muscadine grapes, and I tried growing muscadine grapes, but they were a mess. If you see my previous videos, you know I'm not planting any vines anymore. But these are excellent. And there's different varieties out there now. A lot of people now are getting into some of the more fancy varieties. You don't need a fancy variety. If you want a good selection of them, maybe you can get those, but they're very expensive. I have the red variety, the red Jabba Kabas, which are shorter, and one of mine is fruiting already. As I show you often, it gets fruit 2 or 3 times a year, and it's very small. It grows much smaller than these. Now, these trees can be grown in pots for a very long time. I know Leaf, who sells these, has some in 25 gallons, and they're huge, and they're loaded every year. So they can be kept in pots for a long time. If you get the red variety, I think it could always be kept in a pot. So depending how short you want to keep these, something this size, leaves are bigger than this one, and they're in a pot. So depending on size, that's something you want to consider to grow in a pot. I'm gonna go next door and show you what I got. But as I said, this is it's unique, even though it's such a great fruit and a popular fruit amongst tree growers. Not that many people have fruiting ones. And let's come around here to get a better view of how amazing this looks here. Look at that. If you can see it here. So that's definitely a fruit. It's so beautiful. It's right on the tree. Look at that. Now, another reason why you won't see these often in stores is because I just picked this off the tree. It's nice and hard and it's ready. It's big and it's ready. It won't last long. My neighbor picked this one a couple of hours ago and it's already softer than the one I just picked. So they don't have a long life in the refrigerator even. So that's another reason why they're not commercial varieties. He has those two trees there. And I have some of my trees on water and some of my trees are not on water. But this is one of my trees here right in front of my house that is not as big yet as him. I got mine maybe, this tree maybe 5 years old. So this one is not as tall as his or bushy as his. Doesn't look like it's fruiting yet. This one's on water. Then I have this red one here is on water. Now this red one I got in a 25 gallon and it's fruits. And I've gotten fruit off it. There's even some green fruit on it now that'll turn red. This fruit's off it. Now I could have kept this one in a pot. I decided to put here and I love it. And then right on the other side of it, right in front of my house, I have this one. And this one's up pretty tall. I'm expecting fruit on this, if not this year, next year. But it's really nice, a good location. And now I have a bunch of these in pots as well. And I'm run out of room to grow in the ground, so I'm just trying to grow some stuff in pots here. So I have this one here that was in the ground that I took it out of the ground. And this one is a black one. So we'll see if that comes back. But here are just two beautiful ones here. These two are two red ones that are in a pot. And then I have two more red ones in the ground and then one more black one in the ground. But they're just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful fruits. So Jabba the Kaba, that is this fruit. Put your experience with these at the bottom and let me know what you think of them or growing them and your opinion and all that stuff. All right. Thank you very much for watching and everybody keep growing.